Now this will get rid of, no, I have to hit *1. Okay. Hello? Andrew? Hello, we're going to start in a few minutes. Just make sure some more people show up. And what I'm going to do is we'll walk through this, and then we'll open up for some questions. We're going to start in about 1 minute, see if a few more people show up. Okay, we're going to start. Thank you for attending. And what I'm going to do is give you a walkthrough of our new system and what we've put together. First thing we're going to do is, as you can see, there are 3 tabs here. This is the competitive intelligence section, which is all our products in our entire database that your administrators can view. What we're focused on today is going to be what your broker sees or your advisor. So when they log in, this is the information that they'll have at their fingertips under this tab. And over here is the administrative section. This account is our demo test server. And the reason I'm doing that is because we can see all 3 tabs across the top, and we'll have the ability to go back and forth between them as we need to. Just quickly, for those of you who may not be familiar, what we've done is we've released new grids. All the agents are required to register, and that way we can customize everything we've done. So these are the new grids, and this is our typical MIGA grid, MIGA pod. And the searches are basically the same as we've done before, a little more well organized, and it makes it a lot easier to filter through some of these things. So the look is a little bit different. The functionality, hope we've improved. But the focus of today's webinar has to do with our client management system and our DOL tool. Having been an agent many years myself, I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars of sales because I couldn't track paper files that efficiently. So what happened over the past couple of years is the DOL put together all their rules and regs. And at the same time, we were rebuilding our site. It was a good time to introduce a client management system. So this was built out of my own experience, input from other people. We can always take input and improve what we have here. Basically, this is our main dashboard. When you click into the CMS section, we have what we call open cases, and down at the bottom we have what we call maturing policies. So these are the maturing policies that you would find under what we call the book of business. And this is basically what I did, because I can now enter my client data. I can upload PDF files for the annual statements, and I can actually track a case that I've sold. So I know when the policy comes up for renewal, because right here, here's the date. Okay. Now, this is the basic overview. So let's start digging in, and we're going to look at Mark and Mary, one of the clients. And in this section, because it's Mark and Mary, here are the open cases that are associated with this client in their policies. So if you'd like to go in and take a look, we can take a look at the client profile, how it was built. This collects all the information, and when you're in a case, this information tracks with you. So you can go back to the case section here, and here are the cases for Mark and Mary. If we click on the case, this is our, if you will, our DOL tool, which is rather comprehensive. First thing we did is we built what we call a financial need analysis and risk tolerance. This is the most difficult part I found because it's so subjective. This is an option, meaning that in the administrator's console, we can turn this feature on and off. If you don't have one and you would like to make this available to your people, that's why we built it, and it's here. And I'm going to slowly go through it, give you just a brief explanation. A risk analysis section, ask a series of questions. It's really built to create a dialogue between the rep and the client. Under the insurance section, we can load life insurance policies. We can load annuities, and they can be edited. And then we can go down, and we can go down to the disability section. We could add a section for long-term care if you like. Again, this is partly a work in progress, and it will always be, developed and expanded upon the input from our people. Next section down here, and then we go over to the next page, is the asset section. And under the assets, what we can do is we can load in, for example, in the first part of the real estate values. So if you have a home, a second resident, we can put in the purchase price, market value, current mortgage, if there's a HELOC, and calculate the equity. Again, these can be all edited, added, and of course deleted. Personal property, liquid assets, investments, individual retirement accounts, and we get down to the employer-sponsored plans. Coming into the liability section associated with the mortgages, the way we designed it is when you fill out a previous page, any values that are appropriate are carried over to the next page and populated. You can add it types like credit cards, for example. If you go to the next section of that, income and expenses, and this is where we've captured the income from the client profile, and then we calculated the expenses before and after tax. We calculated the net income after taxes, monthly expenses, and everything is filled out. The reason is partly because of testing, and again, this is the test server, and it shows the most flexibility. So once everything is done, we can then save this report, and here we're going to generate the copy. Now, when we generate this copy, it becomes a PDF file, and we can save it for this client. The F&A is associated with the client and with the case. So here we save it, and it takes us back to the case because we're associating the F&A with a client, which you can use over and over again without having to go back and modify it every time. So we're going to look at the case. We have the F&A stored in there. On the left-hand side, here's the client information that you could edit. You can go in and edit the case information. And this section is an option, and we call it steps to finalize the case. And we built this because there are some organizations we work with where they do all the case design. And there are other situations where the organization, well, we'll let the agent write everything they want to write. We don't want to review it. We don't want to be involved. And in that case, this section would disappear. So for those of you that would want to be able to review the cases, we can leave it there. We're going to go up to the actual DOL tool. One of the things we tried to do, and I think we did a pretty good job, we always want input. There are different sections. If you wanted to sell a MIGA product, we could go to this tab where you can set all your filters to come up with specific products that meet the client's criteria. Same with fixed. We divided the FIAs into two types of sections. One are FIAs without any income riders, and then there are the FIAs with income riders. As you can notice, what we've done is we've taken the client information and we've transferred it in here, so we're tracking that. If you just leave it at the default, the rider income will begin at age 62. Let's move it up to age 70. We're not going to select any other parameters. We could do a 10-10 rule. You can select different types of income options. Withdrawal options, or any other benefits that are normally found. So we're going to now do a search and find the matching products. It takes a minute. We're searching all the products that are associated with this account. So each organization, when you select your product portfolio and the carriers, the search is confined, again, to those that you've selected. So right now, we're going to just select Lincoln. That happens to pay an annual payout of $10,004. And A+ carrier, if you want to select a different product within Lincoln, we can do this one. And we suggest you could do 3 different products. Now we're going to go to the product evaluation section. We've decided we're going to sell the Lincoln Choice 5. Now, what we did is we took an 8424 from various carriers, rewrote it, tweaked it a little bit, and made it part of our system. So under the product justification statement, we recommend that you select 3 products and you type in here why you chose this product out of the 3. We have a disclosure statement. So if there are any conflicts or inside influences, you can check them, or you can put in a written description just to give additional information. So what we're going to do now is save this. Now, in a nutshell, here's the client information, the filtering information, and the products with the commissions. A lot of people talk about, what's an appropriate commission? What's reasonable? And we have loaded, for the most part, all street level commissions. And again, this is our master test account, so commissions can be turned on and off by organization. Right now, we're displaying the commissions, and here are the first year commissions on these products. So what's fair, what's reasonable? We decided to go with the lowest commission, the highest commission, the average commission, and 1 standard deviation. So if a commission in the first year falls within this range, one could say it's reasonable. And here are the renewal commissions. And, if you wrote any evaluations or conflicts, it appear there. What we're now going to do is generate the report. Remember, we created this entire system based on flexibility. So if your organization wants to use a different report, we can upload it in the back end. If you want to put in a report that's required by a carrier, we can put that into the back end as well. If you're a broker-dealer and you want to use another agreement, a BICE agreement, your own agreement, we built this knowing that we're going to modify it for each individual organization. So what we did today is we created this report. We're going to open it up and review it. This is the hard copy. You can print it. A couple of things we've coupled with the report itself. As you go down here, there's the section on commissions. Further we go down, client and agent signatures. Now here are all the products that were part of this calculation and part of review and the appropriate commissions. So we'll go through this. We include our product profile for each of the products that you selected. Again, this will be replaced with your logo. Continue to scroll down through here. Commissions. Again, commissions can be hidden or revealed. Continuing down. Okay, now we're getting into this section, which is the actual rider quoting. Okay, it was based on a joint, Mark and Mary, this particular case. We go down further. Here's the payouts, etc. And we create a ledger for each case. Sorry, not each case, each rider and corresponding policy. Okay, so this is the rider report. We're going to go back and we're going to save this to our document section. And now we're going to return to the case. Okay, this is our document section. And what I'm going to do right now, part of this demonstration, is I'm going to cancel the sale. So what that means is if you want to go in and explore and browse products instead of using the DOL approach, you can do that. Once you select a product, you can create a product profile. You can take these products and tie them into our illustration system. You could go over here and run a rider quote, again, assuming we did not run it through the DOL. Finally, we're going to go over to the selection. Which product are we going to sell? We're going to sell this product. And it takes us into our document section. In the document section, here's the financial needs analysis. Here's the DOL. If you were to run an illustration or a separate rider quoting, it would automatically be saved here. And here's the product profiles for today. We also built in the ability where you can upload any other PDF files. If you want to upload the consumer brochure, product brochure, SOU, or any other documentation, you can save it for this client for this case. Once you have all the information in and it requires a review, you just hit submit for review. When that happens, the administrator section has a case status. And in the case status is Mark and Mary. This is the case we're working on. So as an administrator, we can assign writing agents to a person, so we can group agents and assign them to one administrator, if you will. And that administrator can go in, click on the case, which is in the open status. Obviously, this case would be clicked and be in for review. You click on the case. Now the administrator has taken over the count as if that administrator is the writing agent. You can go back, you can rerun it, we can review it, you may want to make a different recommendation, and then you as a supervisor can go back in and approve the case, etc. I'm not going to go through that in any detail, but I'll go back to the beginning here. Now we're flipping roles back and forth, so that's why we had to go back out this way, go back into Mark and Mary, the old IRA, and now the case was reviewed, and then you can submit it. We are working with various vendors to tie this whole system in so the applications can be submitted electronically. When it's submitted electronically, it'll be passed back to us and saved in this document section. So the copy of the application that was submitted is returned back to us. When the policy is issued, the policy is returned to us in various formats, and we can customize it however we want, depending upon what your needs are. So it'll be saved in the client file. So once the policy has been placed, if you need to save the policy document in it here or with any other additional information, you can then move it over to the archive section. And the way that we built the archive section is that we'll save it in the archives, and the way I put it together is we'll save the case for as long as the surrender charge period, because at some point we're going to have to go back and retrieve the case and view it. So here are the archived cases for this particular individual. The book of business section, these are the policies associated with this one-to-one client. and we can get rid of the client. And now here are all the policies associated with the writing agent, no matter what client it is, and when they come up for renewal. The section that we're going to work on next is a marketing section where you can create an email list based on your clients. So if you want to, say, for example, find all the policies that will be maturing in October of next year or this year, we can do that. You know, the typical birthdays. If you want birthdays for the kids, the spouse, whatever, we'll have the ability to go in and search. So we'll build this out over time with recommendations. The other part we're working on is the book of business, where we'll be able to import policies from a carrier. Many years ago, I was more active writing as a writing agent. Still have clients I may have maintained over the past 20, 30 years. So I can download, I have clients, for example, North American. So I could go and download my clients from North American and save them to the case here or the clients. So that, in a nutshell, is what we put together. Tried to keep it very simple, but at the same time wanted to make it functional, and hopefully we've done that. A couple of things we're working on, just to bring you up to date, and you can see it here. And let's see, I'm going to show. Okay, this is the demo. So for example, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but we have the ability where you will be able to, or you can upload a PDF commission schedule. And as I said, we're working with various vendors for the e-app. We're actually doing a little survey, talking to all the vendors, and what we're trying to do is two things. First thing we're trying to do is, if you are currently working with a vendor, we're going to try to tie in, and those discussions are ongoing right now. So if you're working with one vendor, we'll build a gateway so you can, or your reps can submit. If you are not currently working with a vendor, we're trying to negotiate, I hate to say the word group pricing, if that's possible. And that way, for those of you that aren't using straight-through processing and would like to, hopefully we can, put a deal together where we could save you some money. And that's our objective here. And now the next thing, if I can figure out how to take questions and open this up, I will. Might need some help here. Okay. Hey guys, how do I turn on questions? How do I turn on questions? There's a section here. Let's see if I can find it. Questions right here. Yeah. How do you open that up? Close it up. It was over here. Where's you put it? We're just trying to figure out how to open up this for questions. Make it big. Oh, there they are. Okay. All right. What is the cost? There is no cost. Your subscription fee that you pay each month includes this. We wanted to keep it reasonable. So when we were rebuilding the whole system was a great opportunity to do this. That includes client management system. What does the financial information help with? I'm not clear about that. Is there an ability for the administrator to populate our agent's book of business? That's what we're working on. Yes. That's part of when I was talking about downloading products from North American. And the ultimate goal, once it's requested, and we know there may be requests for that, is if you're working with another vendor, then we can exchange information back and forth. Clients, what do you add? Oh, the client information. Basically, and this is what we built. When we have the client information that's loaded into the system, we can then, through the e-app process, start populating the fields on the input screens of the e-app. So in other words, we can pass over the agent's credentials. We can pass over the client information, the product information. So that's our goal. In other words, in order to work effectively with any straight-through processing vendor, the more information we can pass over. I've been an agent, my God, many, many years, and I'm guilty. I'm lazy. So if I'm working on this screen, I can identify the products I want, and I can have my client information, so I can transfer over the client information, the birth date, state, premium, amount, and makes the whole e-app process easier. Okay, we have different groups that work with us. So we able to talk? Yes. What we have done, and you can call and talk to Andrew about this in greater detail, is that we are setting up what we call satellite accounts. So you can create for each different organization their own account, if you will, in their own product shelf. As you know, what's going on in the industry of the DOL, we're getting a proliferation of products. Carriers are dividing up their desks. So now they have one desk for broker-dealers, one desk for the independent channel. And, you know, we're tracking now a little over 1,300 products. In the next 6 months to a year, that could easily be 2,000. And we've had to make changes to do that. When you say we're working on group pricing, is that for an e-app capabilities? Yes. Would we be able to use an e-app vendor through ARW? Yes. That's exactly what we're trying to achieve. Are we able to build an SSO2 from our DOL platform to pre-fill some of this included as part of your DOL process to create one seamless process? Yes, single sign-ons. They are available. We've done that. Yes. In fact, if you would call us, Laura, on that, we can give you much more information. Do you have a suggestion for the big signature sign-off solution? Jeff, what I have to say about that is talk to us about that. Like I said earlier, we built this understanding. We're going to have to modify it on a case-by-case basis. So our back end was built to address those issues. So yes, we can work with you on that. Are you seeing good runs for the various carriers to allow the e-app to be available on the AnnuityRateWatch site? Interesting question. We had one conversation with a carrier, and the blanket statement was, we'd be glad to pay you $15 an app to get you to submit electronically, because that's the way we want to be. So yeah, they are willing to work with us on that, and they're willing to work with the vendors. So what we're trying to do is work with the vendors, with the support of the carriers, so that we can submit more business electronically. Again, what I said earlier was this: agents are lazy. So anytime that we can remove an obstacle and make it easier for an agent to write business, which is good for you, it's good for the carrier. And our job here in a nutshell is, how do we support you to encourage your people to write more business? So we are open to suggestions. If you would like to discuss certain individual situations, please give us a call. Be more than willing to work with you. If you want more in-depth training or explanations for what we're doing here, please just give us a call and we'll work with you. Are there any other questions at this point? Let's see, I think I've answered everybody. Is the ability for me to populate agents' book of business? We use different groups. I think when will this launch? Okay, right now, what I showed you today is available to all your reps. So when they go to your website, as you know, they're required to register now. Once they register, that actually creates the CMS and DOL. So that is there. It's currently up and running. And if you'd like, we can do webinars for your agents, walking them through this, give them a little more explanation detail like we did today. Okay, what are some of the e-app vendors you're currently talking with? There are 4 of them, and we're talking to all 4. Let's see, when will this launch? Those are the vendors. If there are other vendors other than the big four, let us know. Discussions are going on with all of them. Anything else? Oh, and I think I mentioned this, but if you are currently working with a vendor, give us a call and we'll get tied in with them for your account. Anything else today? I think that does it. In that case, thank you so much. In that case, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. Give us a call if you have any questions. And thanks again. Anything we can do to support your writing business, let us know. Thanks very much.